Yeah, for some reason this is I had to start a new one here because the old one wasn't putting out a stream evidently. Let me go ahead and send out invites again. New ones. Can you guys see me now? I don't know if I'm actually live or not. Let me go view it on YouTube. Know if I'm actually live. Oh, yeah, it shows me up there. So hopefully everybody from over there comes over here. That is totally weird. Yeah, give me a minute to send the invites out again. Unfortunately, yeah. Let's see. MC. Yeah, I think it has something to do with that the sun thing because I've been having troubles with it here for a good while. Yeah, me and Monty was up there talking and whatnot, and then I was like, it hasn't popped up yet because I had my other window open showing the live, and yeah, it didn't pop up. Yeah, I'm not sure what it is, but yeah, kind of sucks. If somebody's still over there, mod over there, can they post a link saying I'm over here now? Hello again.
Hello again.
Yeah, that was weird.
Bigfoot got his ears lowered.
Ears lowered. I got my beard all trimmed up nice and
Almost didn't
Well,
recognize
you didn't have to get all dustied up for my live now.
anything for you, brother. Anything for you. I wasn't going to go the full Monty and like take it all off.
Yeah, that's weird because usually it like sometimes it goes long and I it's like 30 seconds before it starts up, but then after you stop it, you can't start it back up again. I was because I clicked the same button, but it kicks me out.
Yeah, I tried to use the same link and I went backstage of your other one.
Yeah. There we go. Trying to send out all the links now again. A new link. Ay.
I think they see me's got this tendonitis setting off on me too.
Bushcraft, I got to say that is a pretty sweet. I don't know how you created this background thing, but that is pretty sweet.
Well, it's actually the overlay.
Okay.
You know, where usually you would have an overlay up here. So, well, no, that's not it right there. But this thing.
Yep.
Yeah, I just created the zombies.
That's pretty sweet.
Yeah, it is.
I can't wait till they let you animate that though, because that'd be even cooler when they're moving around. Well, I guess we can. Got Shift Kicker in here, Ginger Ninja again. Greg's in here. Longboarding Mom.
Lake will be here soon.
Okay.
She's She's almost halfway to the state of one of these zombies because she's hangry right now. Don't tell her I said that.
Yeah, I got oh,
TJ.
I figure we can. I'll start off with mine. I've got a bunch, but this is one you might have heard of, Mary Stockham.
I don't know about that one.
It's well, everybody thought she was a witch, but I don't know if she was or not. But yeah, it's a big thing around these parts. Everybody knows. Everybody's been out to, well, if you have a 4-wheel drive, because there's a graveyard up on top of a hill, not too far from here. And I dabbled in the ghost hunting stuff. And we went out there with recorders and things and cameras and all that stuff. And I actually got sounds from the grave on the recorder.
Yes.
So very spooky. And there was somebody, I did have, like, my son, my middle son was out there with his girlfriend, which when she started hearing the noises, she ran. And you can hear her scream in the sound clip I got.
I can imagine.
But yes, so go ahead and
So
start up here.
is this ghost stories and phenomenon or
Just whatever. Yeah.
whatever?
If you got
I
a
got
story.
Yeah.
Usually everybody does. And
Well, between cryptids and ghost stories, I'm in.
okay, I'll give you the kind of the small story of Mary Stockham. Mary Stockham's husband killed their retarded daughter. When her husband was hanged for this, she was furious and said she would have revenge on everybody. One by one, her remaining 9 kids started wasting away and dying, apparently from fever. After the 5th had died, the town members have got together and burned her, calling her a witch. Then her 6th child died. They dug her up, Mary Stockham, and cut her head off and burned her the rest of the way. Shortly after that, the rest of her children stopped dying. Now today, they say if you're driving down the road by the graveyard, she supposedly haunts the place. When searching, she searches all over for her head and her children. Hunters in the area has seen her ghost. She's headless. Once a young couple were parked, doing what young couples do,
Yeah.
and a knock at the door or the window, and they rolled the window down and seen the old lady wanting a ride out of the area. They turned back, and she didn't have a head, and they got the heck out of there. And that's the background story of it. Like I said, I've actually got sound because they have it marked where her grave is.
You say this lady's last name was Pelosi?
Pretty much. Now, when we were out there, I was doing the EVPs and all that stuff, and I have these digital recorders that I would place in certain areas, and I had one sitting on her grave. The headstone had already been removed and rolled down the hill, but where her grave is, the base of the gravestone was there. And let me go ahead and share this. See if it works this time though. Now hopefully you guys can hear it. Did you guys hear that?
Here's something real faint.
Yeah, you right about here you hear a thunk, and then the girl says and she ran off. Right there.
Mhm.
And like I said, that was the pretty much the only thing we seen shapes and stuff out there, but nothing like what people had said they seen.
So that was in a cemetery?
Yeah, an
Yeah.
old cemetery where these are 1800 people were buried there.
Mm-hmm.
The years 1700 and stuff like that. And you
That's-
have to have a 4-wheel drive to get out there.
Sets the stage to be pretty creepy in itself.
Oh yeah, and it, like I said, we were out there at 3:00 in the morning because that's the best time. And shortly after that, we left because nobody wanted to go back out there except for me and my younger son. Other than that, that's all we seen out there. But that was our little thing. Do you want to go ahead with one, Monty?
Yeah. Okay. So this is back when me and my buddy, we were still in high school. It was me and 2 other buddies. So we have a little graveyard out just north of town, about 5-6 miles out. It's called Witch's Graveyard, and that. And the reason they call it that is because there's one certain headstone there, and they think just by the way it's a pretty long saying on it, they think it's from a witch. Well, it was a popular saying back then in the late 1800s, early 1800s, somewhere in there. And so they kept telling me that they was gonna. I mean, even back then, I was weighing like 350 pounds, right? So they was like, we can. He's like, we're going to go out and we're going to take you out to Witch's Graveyard. We're going to do light as a feather, light as a ghost. I'm like, I don't know about this. So we took this chair and I sat in it. Believe it or not, he's like, all 3 of us were saying light as a feather, light as a ghost. And they said with their 2 fingers, they lifted me up. I'm like, there's no way. I started coming up off the air and I was like, okay. Set me back down. I'm out of here. That's just one.
Yeah.
That's enough.
On that, yes. Now, across the state line in Missouri, in this little town, there's a little slope, right? And I mean, everybody knows that around this locally regional, what I'm saying, between the 2 state lines, you go and you park, and you put it in neutral, and you can feel your vehicle rolling back uphill. It's just a gentle slope rolling back uphill, and when you get out, you can see handprints up on the front of the vehicle and whatnot.
Oh, wow.
And I'm like, yeah,
drive past there real fast.
yeah.
I don't really have. Are you done, Lonnie?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I don't really have a ghost story, but I just have a really creepy story. And the reason why it's so creepy for me is because it happened to my family back in Ohio. And they all know, and I think most people know that I'm pretty much a Bigfoot fanatic. I like doing research into Bigfoot, and I like doing research into cryptids and that sort of thing. So it was my sister, my baby sister, when I got a couple different messages from her, and one was where my mom's neighbor put up this Facebook post. And I'm going to read you. I have it here on my phone. I'm going to read it to you, and then I'm going to show you guys some pictures on my phone. It says, and this happened this past February, actually February 14th. It says, so last night, well, first, the first post was, not sure whose dog is loose, but I'm going to flip in a second with a mad face. There was something out. There was something out in her yard, and her dogs were going ballistic. Okay, then wasn't much longer later, she posted this. So last night, this must have been the next morning. She posted this. So last night, I thought there was a dog loose until I walked out and saw a black, very big animal. I swear it was a bear. So I went over to look at the prints in the snow, and my kids still think I'm crazy. And I'm going to show you these prints, and then the story keeps going. But let me show you these prints. Hopefully, you guys can see it if I blow this up on my screen.
Oh yeah, I remember those.
Okay, so they almost kind of look like they got a hoof shape to them, but regardless, they're weird. And where my mom lives, it's not known for bear, but she said she saw this big black thing in the yard. So my sister, one second, let me get my pictures back here. My sister, the next morning, she's like, well, if they had these tracks in their yard, I wonder if mom had some in her yard. So my sister goes out into my mom's backyard and starts looking around, and she about has a heart attack because she found this track.
Wow.
That's a bit different, isn't it?
Wow.
Now, I'm going to show you the scope and size of this thing. That's my sister's like size 9 boot next to it. That track's like 20 plus inches long. It's got 6 toes.
6 toes.
6 toes, and that was about 20 feet from my mom's back porch, like looking directly at her house. Kind of creepy. She was so freaked out. She sent that to me, and she's like, I don't know what this is.
Well, it was Valentine's Day. So,
but I'm pretty sure that everybody in my family, other than me and my wife, are skeptics. But I think Bigfoot's real. People laugh at me for that, but prove me wrong is what I tell them.
Yeah.
But it was funny when they found this print. Who was the first one they reached out to?
I when I was going out looking at some property, I kept, we were going over a hill right before we was going over a hill. Oh, that looks good.
Oh yeah.
There was a sign saying warning Bigfoot crossing.
Yeah.
And I kept on going, and so there was a bunch of warning signs, and they had a bunch of Bigfoot stuff all over the yards and stuff. And when you get up over the top of the hill, they had an actual statue of a Bigfoot. It's about 7 foot tall. Yep. And if I was driving, I would have took a bunch of pictures.
Yeah,
but it's out in the middle of an old dirt road and everything. It's like he had it all dressed up in his yard and stuff, and I was like, no, hardly anybody drive down that road either.
Worth a trip out there.
Yeah. We got Pac-Man Paranormal in here now. Jeff showed up. Gardner Josh.
Hey, Josh.
As above, so below.
Hey, Gardner Josh.
Joe. Nate, Shift Kicker. I think I got everybody just come in. Yeah, unfortunately we had technical difficulties at the beginning. The other one that I did, there's another old house. It's just, if you search for in this area, it's called the house on the corner. And the story goes, uh, the guy comes home from work and asks his wife is dinner ready, and he's a real mean guy and whatnot. And she didn't quite have dinner ready by the time he come home. And evidently he got mad and off with her head and stuck her head in the oven, and that's the whole story. I don't know anything after that or whatnot, but I went there to see if I get any readings or anything like that. And as soon as you get in the house, other than because I did fall through the floor into the basement, but other than that, you can smell something burning, and it's almost enough to make you gag smell. Other than that, because people said they hear stuff out there, which I did find out that it was bees that were in the walls that was making the noise. But yeah, other than this, the weird smell when you got in there, I didn't see much of that. But
Yeah,
that's
one
enough.
thing. That's one thing I like studying, like that last story that you told. I like to research, like, where did that story come from? Like, was this
Yeah,
lady real? I like to research that kind of stuff. Um,
yeah,
nah, I get, like, sometimes, and I truly believe this. Sometimes when you got to be really careful, because sometimes when you reach out into that darkness looking for things, there's things that can reach back and they will latch
yeah,
on.
yeah. Like the Mary Stockham, I did a bunch of research, and it did she did go back to the 1700s and everything. She still has family in this area too, and they won't talk about it.
That's
uh, Other than that, there is a story about her husband being hung, and that she was burned alive. Uh, and then there's the ghost story part of it. Now, this other bit with the house on the corner, there's stories behind it, but you can't really. You can only go back so far. They don't know who previous owner of this was back then, and that house is like way out in the middle of nowhere too. It's just um, you go over. It's probably about 4 miles in all directions. You don't see any houses other than that.
say you get out in those places like that, out on those back roads, and there you see this random cabin or something, and then you start to just get that feeling like,
Yeah.
maybe I should try to maybe get out of here. That's because usually your cell service doesn't work out there.
Oh yeah.
It's like this is like the perfect storm for wrong turn. It's like,
Yeah. And plus, when you got to do it, the ghost hunting thing, it's always late at night,
yeah,
and you can't bring any cell phones or anything like that because that'll interfere with it. I've been in plenty of people's houses where they said they hear stuff, but I go in and I don't find anything, or it's something like um, something in a vent banging or something. It's something silly that anybody could have figured out.
yeah. A lot of stuff like that can be debunked, like the rotten egg smells and stuff like that. It's like a dry trap in a sewer drain,
Yeah.
stuff like that. But I was kind of hoping TJ would still be in the chat. TJ's got a really cool story that she told on my channel one time about something she saw in a cemetery, of course. Um, Maybe she can do that on another show, but it's pretty cool.
Yeah, I sent her sent her a link. I'm pretty sure.
She's a
There's TJ. TJ, you want to come up and tell that story about the cemetery and what you saw? Or I don't mean to put you on the spot.
Yeah.
we should eat your dinner.
Didn't you see that spotlight? I did.
My dad used to tell this one about the big black toe.
It sounds like Mr. Deeds.
Well, he said that. Let me see if I can remember it all the way. Oh, a pretty old rundown house, and they a poor family and everything, and they had a big garden area, and they were growing potatoes, and it was they went out, all the kids. There was 2 boys and a little girl. The mom and dad were out there planting potatoes and everything, and harvest time came around, and they were all out there with their hoes and the buckets and everything for potatoes so they could make dinner. And that's all they had. They had a little bit of vegetables here and there, but no meat or anything. Well, they were out there getting potatoes, and the little girl hit something, and she picked it up, and it was a weird. Very weird, and she flipped it over, and it looked like a toe, but it was a big size toe, and she ran over to her brother that was sitting on the next row over and said, look what I got. And he's freaked out about it. That's really weird. So he took it over to his bigger brother, and said, look what sister found, and showed it to him. And he hurried up and rushed it over to mom and dad, and look what this is. And the dad said, look, it looks like we're having meat tonight with our potatoes. So they go in the house, and they're getting everything ready, and they're all excited because that's meat. They haven't had any meat for a long time, and they're making a potato soup with that meat in there. They all ate it up real good, and everybody's nice and full. Comes bedtime, everybody jumps in bed and starts to go to sleep. And around midnight, they start hearing a weird noise. I want my big black toe. And the big brother is freaking out, and what's that? And he looks around. He doesn't see anything. He goes downstairs, goes back to bed. A couple minutes later, I want my big black toe. Other brother goes downstairs. He looks in the kitchen. He looks under the cupboards, and he doesn't see anything. He goes out front and looks. Nothing. Didn't see anything. So he goes back up, and it's all quiet again. Oh, and then probably half an hour down, here it is again. I want my big black toe. And then the little girl wakes up looking all around, and she hurries up and goes under the covers. She's not going to go look around. And then, I want my big black toe. I'm going to get my big black toe. And she's freaking out. So she goes to run down the hall to get mom and dad. And they say, oh, you're okay. There's nothing wrong. Go back to bed. Well, she goes back to her room, and she hears it again. I want my big black toe. And she hears something in the closet. So she goes opens the door real close. Ah! That's the whole thing. It's one of those things to scare your kids.
Yeah, well, I jumped.
Yeah, lake jump. So they like literally had potato soup.
Yeah.
So there was a question there in the chat. It was from Sassy-Cat. Want to know what part of Ohio did I grow up in? Sassy-Cat grew up in Southeast. I also grew up in Southeast Ohio. It was Perry County. And you want to talk about the land of hillbillies? Right.
In Ohio?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, Bushcraft knows.
Yeah. I grew up in different places, but Millfield, Ohio was the main one, and it's because lived with my grandpa for a while, and then Muskingum County, Zanesville,
Zanesville's my old stomping grounds.
Gloucester, and
Gloucester, Burr Oak.
all around those areas.
Mm-hmm.
And then when I was older, I lived in Connellsville.
Yep, Malta.
Yeah. Yeah, there used to be a furniture place there, and you could go over there and get a bunch of wood from their skids and stuff, and really good wood. And we used to go over there and get a bunch of them and make picnic tables and turn around and sell them because it was really, really good wood. Oh, there's some Fraziesburg.
Fraziesburg.
Yeah.
That's near Dresden. Yeah, I actually here's something for you, Frank.
Fraziesburg?
Fraziesburg. I actually now Fraziesburg. That's Dresden, right? I'm thinking right. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I was I was part of a construction crew that built the schools out there.
Oh, really?
Mm-hmm. I also built Zanesville High School. I also built Newark High School. I also built West Muskingum High School. I built a lot of schools.
Yeah. You remember there's a school up on the hill? I think it was an elementary school in Zanesville.
That's West Muskingum.
Yeah. Well, it's closed down now, but I remember going there when I was little for probably maybe a month and a half. So I remember it because I used to have to walk up the stairs. So I came from South Zanesville walking to school.
Passamaquoddy. I'm gonna get you. My mom does that. She still does that, and it makes my brother jump.
I did a couple streams on Skinwalker Ranch.
Yeah.
That's some pretty terrifying stuff.
Yeah. I watched a little bit on, but that's there are some strange places like that. That's
They're actually
like what's that one where there's a coal mine underneath of it? They got the whole city closed now, but it's supposed to be haunted because all the people in the city or the town died. And they say there's people living down underneath there and stuff. They made a movie, Silent Hill, I think it was.
Okay, yeah. Was that Pennsylvania?
I'm thinking Pennsylvania or Ohio.
Yeah, it was a coal mining town. Yeah, so it had to be Pennsylvania, West Virginia,
Yeah.
or Ohio.
Yeah. Where I used to live with my grandpa because he lived right where the coal mine because he was the only surviving person from the mine, and he had a temperature and he went home to get lunch instead of having lunch in the mine, and it went kaboom, and he had to go in there and drag 80 some people out of there. They were all dead, including his two brothers.
Oh wow.
Yeah. And there's one part in there where he goes in, and there's a guy sitting there having lunch, just normal as could be, and it blew his head completely off, and he's just still sitting there.
Mm.
And that area, that's a really haunted area.
That's good.
Bless you.
Thank you.
Bless you.
There'd be times we'd be out there and you'd hear the whistle for the shift change and stuff.
No kidding.
No whistle. It's gone. It got the stacks and everything tore down and stuff.
Kind of like residual stuff going like.
Yeah. You'd hear picks and stuff going because they didn't have machines or anything. It was all hand dug and blasted and stuff like that. And
Are you going to be doing this on a regular or like every so often?
yeah, every so often.
Okay, because we have some local stories also, and my wife just sent me one to remind me that are associated with the mountain. It's fairly close to our home. I could try to put something together for that.
Yeah, that'd be good. Yeah, I just thought I was trying. The other day, I was thinking, oh, it'd be good to do the ghost story things again every once in a while.
Yeah, you know, it's funny because you have maybe not every town, but at least every county, I would say.
Yeah,
There's a legend or there's a story
yeah,
about this cemetery or this mountain or that old nasty looking tree. You know, they're just legends with this stuff, and researching the history of it's amazing. It's amazing.
Zanesville.
well, 45-minute drive from Zanesville.
See, I've heard of Zanesville.
Yeah,
The Y Bridge.
and I'm just north of there in Coshocton. Usually, when I say I'm in Coshocton, Ohio, everybody looks at me weird, like there's a town named Coshocton.
Yeah.
So last night, I was either over on Facebook or I was in the YouTube Shorts. I think it was Facebook, the little shorts they got on, just watching it, and it said alien captured or something like that. And it was like CCTV. It was kind of black and white, like it was not really nighttime, but it was kind of looking like that,
Yeah,
And this gentleman was helping this guy up, and all of a sudden this thing come up out of this gentleman, and it had big old arms.
yeah, I seen that.
And I
They
was
were
like,
hitting him or going to kick him or something, and it
well,
showed
something.
something coming out and knocking him back.
Yeah. And then it
was
took
freaking.
back form. It took back form into the guy after the human portion was getting back up. The thing went back into the human form, and I'm like,
yeah, that was freaky.
yeah, because I kept watching it over and over and over again. I'm like,
trying to see if
Trying to
they spliced it together or something.
trying to debunk it, and I'm like, this looks kind of legit. I was like, yeah. I was like, whoa, because I mean,
Jeff, get up here and tell your story. I sent you a link.
It's all
Well, I
blended
sent
in
you a
and
couple links. So
Sassy Cat says Cambridge was halfway between my town of Barnesville and Zanesville area. Yeah, I've been
Oh, yeah.
Cambridge. Cambridge is close to Norwich, and that's where isn't that where like John Glenn High School and all those schools are at? I built all those too.
Well, when you was doing your show on your channel, didn't you do a thing on Cambridge I know you did one on Bridgewater.
Yeah,
Triangle.
I did one on the Bridgewater Triangle.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
then I thought you mentioned Cambridge though too.
Yeah, that was the Cambridge there.
Yeah. Oh, my bad.
Yeah, Pumpkin Festival. Yeah, definitely.
Okay, so back when we used to farm,
Barnesville Pumpkin Festival. Sounds familiar.
we had row crop down in the river bottoms. Kansas side, so this is on the Kansas side. And I remember around harvest time, Dad would always leave at least one swath of whether it be beans, milo, or whatever down in there just for wildlife and everything. Sometimes he would, sometimes he wouldn't. And then there'd be times that we took buckets of feed and like roast ears, dried up corn on the cob and whatnot, or dried corn. We'd either have it in the old feed sacks or we'd have it in buckets. And I remember going and dropping it down there. We'd just leave it there and then take back off because this was way down in the bottoms. And I still remember at times hearing a faint whoop. And I'm like, what? And I thought I was just imagining things. And yet, I don't know, I'd say about maybe a quarter of a mile up from the big field we had, because it was right next to the river. There was a little old sawmill place. And just up from that, just a tiny bit, it was a old strip mines. They used to strip mine back in there. But Dad wouldn't hardly let me go in there unless he went in there with me. But I remember one time seeing some faint figures over to the side, like in a distance, and it was like a little child shadow and then an adult one, and they stank. And then I didn't piece all this together either until like me and my brother were out on the road, and he'd been inebriated a little bit. Okay, I'll just say that. And he goes, "Don't you know why the federal government took that over?" I'm like, "No, why?" He goes, "Because of the things." I'm like, "What things?" And he started talking to me, and I'm like, I started recalling my memories from when I was a kid. And I'm like, "Oh my goodness, are you serious?" So, yeah, that's my only encounters with the I call them the landwalkers, but Bigfoot.
Yeah, that
You
Crystal Lake, isn't it? In New Jersey. Yeah, that's where the story of the Jason thing came about.
There's some pretty creepy things that, because we live in the Adirondacks, and the Adirondacks is 6 million acres of forest, woods, mountains. Some of it's so remote, it's like it would be hard to even get in there. But you guys ever hear of the missing 411 stuff? David Politis, he does it.
Sounds familiar.
He does stories of missing people that just vanish, and he's done a lot of them from up here in the Adirondacks, where people just these are like experienced hunters who go out, and sometimes they'll find some things, but sometimes they're just gone. And some really amazing stories there.
Ginger Ninja, you want to get up here and tell one of your stories? Hey, News with Z-Man.
I have a story, just a little bit of a story I can share. I got to be a little bit vague, but
privacy.
yeah. But the place where I work, I have to go all over the place, and occasionally, not very often, I'll have to go to a house. I usually do commercial work, but this time they had me specifically go to this house, and I go to this house. It's kind of out in the middle of nowhere, and I get there, and it's just a lady there by herself, and she's nice, but I can see there's just something off. There's something off with this. You ever just get that feeling like something's just not right? So I'm there working for a little while, and then people start showing up, and these people look official, like not family. These are like official people. So it piques my interest. So I eavesdrop a little bit. And the more I listen, the more I found out that this lady's husband had just vanished, gone. And
Months later.
right. So I got, once everybody left, I mean, it was a whole slew of detectives coming in there just asking questions. Once things calmed down a little bit, I got to talk to the lady about it. And, I gave her a hug and said, so sorry, and anything I could do. And
You're the only one she allows there now.
right. And it wasn't until probably 3 or 4 months later, I'm watching David Politis, the Missing 411. He is in that lady's kitchen.
What?
It was on the Missing 411. That was the lady. That was one of those cases from that. And it's like it like shell shocked me that
You're like,
I
was there too.
I was like, I was there. I was like,
You get that link.
Shell shock too.
yeah, like that story Monty said about that uphill, when your car coasts uphill up towards that road. There are so many of those legends around,
Mhm.
and different things like that. It's so fascinating to hear those stories and to research them, find the history. Really cool.
And I've got one that's from Missouri. I don't remember the name of the town. It was south of Springfield. I can't remember the name of the town right now, but there's rail tracks going through there, and we used to have a house next to the railroad tracks, and they said that at a certain time, I can't remember because I was just a kid at the time, you could see somebody walking down the road or the railroad tracks with the shoebox under their arm and no head. And evidently you hear this guy walking up and down the thing looking for his head. And evidently in the past, he was just got a brand new pair of shoes and was hurrying up going home and didn't see the train, and he got hit and lost his head. And people say they see a guy walking down with this shoebox under his arm with no head. And everybody said they've seen this. And I sit out in my window, I don't know how late, waiting to see this guy walking back and forth without no head. I never seen him, but it was one of those, it give you creeps just sitting out there waiting to see if you could see something.
Yeah.
I thought when you first was talking about that. See, there was one of them I heard about, and it was over there in Missouri, but I didn't know. I can't recall which little small town it is, because there's a lot of small towns just right across the state line. Anyways, there's old railroad tracks, and it's like the sound of a ghost train. You know what I'm saying? Like you'll hear the and then the old style whistle, because that's the
old ones.
It's the narrow tracks, the old decommissioned tracks, and it's crazy. There now down in between Weir and Erie, Kansas, there's a ghost light. People from all angles have tried to figure it out. They thought it was a small little airplane or airport light, but it's not. It's not it. But when they get up there to it, it's still the same distance away. You know what I'm saying? No matter how close you get to it, it's still that same distance, and it's weird. They're trying to say like swamp gas or something like that, but I'm like, I don't know about that.
Yeah, it seems like every town has one of these old stories, and it could be like the one with the train. The guy could have stubbed his toe, and it grew from stubbing his toe, and he lost his head. And
Yeah,
because it seems like stories always somebody adds to it as it the more it gets told, then the next generation adds something to it.
And then with social media, it just runs like
Oh yeah,
fire.
it's multiplied.
And then it becomes urban legend.
Yeah.
And
Jeff brought up a good one there in the chat, the Brown Mountain Lights in North Carolina. I always wanted to do a stream on that.
I talked about that a little bit.
Yeah, that is there's some dark, creepy stuff associated with the Brown Mountains.
yeah, right outside of Lancaster. Okay.
I used to work in Lancaster. I used to work on Coon Path Road in Lancaster.
That's a name. Coon Path. You see many raccoons running down that road?
Yeah, probably so. It's out there. Yeah, I think it once, like I didn't even know you were doing a ghost show until
I
like,
didn't know until like Wednesday or Thursday. Just a couple days ago.
I think if more people know, like a week or so in advance, or maybe even a couple weeks, people will have a lot of stories to share. I mean, they really do.
That's what I was gonna say. I'll put. Oh, where'd my other banner go? Oh, there it is. Yeah, if anybody wants to be on the next one with ghost stories and whatnot, let me know. Just email me down there. Bushcraft Show. And then I'll probably set it up a lot more than a couple days.
Just
I was trying to think what would be a good because I don't want the Friday thing to be nothing serious talking or anything like that. It's just like a wind down thing from the week.
but whenever you're emailing, just make sure you just say hi.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, if I reply back and it's from hi, you know who it is.
Uh-huh.
Well, on that one, it's not that email, just my other one.
Well, it's original. We know who it is.
Last week I get this email and I'm like, it just says hi, StreamYard link, and I'm like,
Okay.
okay,
Click.
I'm game.
Oh, that's who it is.
Well, I remember you was asking for my email.
Yeah.
Just a few days before that. So, yeah.
Yeah, if you can get coordinated with TJ, she's got a really cool story.
Yeah, it's everybody seems to have them. I mean,
Guthrie, Oklahoma. Yep.
I lived in Tombstone, Arizona. That is, you'd be surprised how much stuff goes on down there. There's a saloon that I used to go to. It's not a regular saloon. I mean, I don't even know if they had alcohol in there, but I used to sweep his, I guess it was the front porch. It's where you go into the saloon where they used to tie the horses up and whatnot. I used to sweep that off as a kid, and he would give me sassafras. Was it a sarsaparilla?
Yeah,
it's a root soda. And I'd be out there sweeping, and all of a sudden, in which was a road at the time, except for when they had the festival, you'd hear a bang, bang, bang. You turn around, there's nothing there. There'd be gunfire all the time through that section of town, and the saloon that I was swept out was where I can't remember, one of the white uh, brothers got shot there and died. The younger one, I think it's Morgan. I think he was got shot there. Um, in the OK Corral, there's all the time you hear people talking when there's nobody around. Was other things. Where the boot heel is, the famous boot heel, you'd see people out there in olden clothes putting flowers on graves, and you'd look again, there would be nobody there.
It's a lot of history out there.
Oh yeah,
I'll say a lot of violent history.
yeah. Dodge City that was another one that they hear gunfire all the time.
There's a boot hill out there too.
Yeah, they get calls to the police all the time saying there's gunfight going out there. What time was it? So they have it on. If it's a certain time, they don't bother with it. I don't know if it's still that way, but on the way to Zanesville. Yeah, there's probably a lot of them. Yeah, I did. There are a few websites that you can look for haunted areas. There's the Cuckoo House, whatever. I think it's in Mansfield or something.
The asylum.
That all the big ghost hunters and stuff go over there.
Yeah.
And you can actually go in. You can you pay them to go in to do it. I can't remember the name. Alcatraz. That's another one that's supposed to be really, really haunted. They hear stuff going on through there all the time.
Yeah, what is it? East State Penitentiary. A lot of those old prisons are notorious too.
Yeah.
And insane asylums.
Yeah.
Yeah. Those are old ones where they mistreated people.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Yeah. It seems like the harder that stuff was, the more activity there is. The house on Church Street. That sounds creepy by itself.
Yeah.
That sounds like a movie title.
Lake has a question.
Does everyone think that there's actual like spirit ghost, or are there something else?
Yeah, what do you guys think of ghosts? We have our thoughts on it.
I don't know. They say there's if it's repetitive, if it's like on the same time frame, then it's like an energy.
Mm-hmm.
That it's something that's stuck there in a loop.
Yeah, residual. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And then they call the other type intelligent.
Yeah. And I've always had, my dad used to tell me that he always seen glimpses of my mom. And I thought he was full of crap. Just trying to freak me out and whatnot. But when I started having my kids, I started seeing somebody, a lady in white, and I always got the sense that it was my mom looking over me. And I kind of think something like that would be more feasible than, going into a house and getting haunted and stuff like that. Oh, oops, there it is. Yeah, I was going to do that one time because I had another ghost hunting group that wanted me to go with them because they didn't have enough people, and asked me if I'd go with them, and then it kind of fell through.
So I don't know, man. So this last house that was written, the kids, the girls' mom, me lived in there, right, and everything. I fell, couldn't move my legs, had back surgery. So, but before that, I was downstairs early one morning. The girls were the grandparents over in Missouri, and I heard this like a dragging the dresser across a wooden floor. I'm like, so I texted Samantha. She was upstairs. I'm like, she was in bed, but I didn't know it. And I was like, if you need help moving, all you had to do is ask. She goes, I'm in bed. I'm laying down. I'm like, huh? So that was the first instance with this house. And this house is late 1860s, 1880s, around in there. So, I mean, it used to be like they'd rent the upstairs out to the teachers when they used to visit, because the school used to be right there. It's on the side of a hill. So the old high school used to be up there. So when they rent out the top half to any of the visiting teachers when they was on their little circuit in the local county, I guess, or however they did that. So, it's kind of like a boarding house at the top and this and that. Well, fast forward a few months later, and I mean, at least 4 months later, things just kept, you would get kind of like this weird energy vibe kind of thing, here and there, just in specific rooms, not all the rooms, like 2 or 3 rooms upstairs, and then there's about one room downstairs. It just weird energy vibes. And so a guy I know, he had a couple of little different phone apps. Yeah, you know how those fun are.
Yeah.
But some of them, one of them was, this is what's weird. So me and him, I seen the thermographic picture kind of style. And I'm like, okay, whatever, just slacking it off. You know how some of those apps are. So he turns it on to this one where it's picking up whatever it is, sounds that we can't normally hear. And I'm listening to it on his phone, and it's me, and he's going up ahead of me, and I'm behind him, and I'm like, wait a minute, that's my voice. I was like, wait a minute, that's a conversation. That's a conversation that happened back in June, and this is February of the next year, and I'm like, what's going on? And it was just different things like that, and I'm like, that's what freaked me out. And yeah, things flying off the wall here and there, not towards me, but it always seemed like it, whatever it was, got angered whenever crazy ex baby mama would come after me and like put her hands up on me and whatnot.
Protecting you.
Yeah. So and then there was like in one of the upstairs bedrooms that we had for the little one, that same little phone app and stuff, right? Went over there by the closet, and we heard like two little kids playing on that through that app, and I'm like, so yeah, I made sure not to anger nothing in that house. Let me just tell you that. It was freaky.
Yeah, I'll go and if there's nobody downstairs, and I'll go into the kitchen, all my cupboards will be open. I'll go close them, and I'll come back in. They're all open again. I've seen stuff in the basement. We heard something, and me and my middle son and my younger son went down in the basement, and I said, well, I'm gonna take my camera with me because I've got the infrared where you can see in the dark. And we went around the corner, and we all seen a head turn around and look at us. Those kids ran up the stairs so fast. I didn't record it, unfortunately, but yeah.
Yeah, that's one thing you need to consider is the history of where you're living from the time you've been there.
Yeah.
You don't know what happened 50 years before you.
Right.
They could have had Ouija boards on your kitchen table and invited that your house could have been a portal to who knows what.
Yeah, this house was 18 something, 1870 or something like this. This was the only house that was up on this hill.
Yeah.
And then everybody started building next to it.
What I tell you what we did when we bought this house, because we kind of felt some things and we maybe saw some things, and I'm not going to get into all that, but we 2 or 3 times now we've prayed over oil, and we've went and anointed every window, every door in this house, because it's just, we don't know the history. It's like it just felt like something was here that shouldn't be here.
Yeah, mirrors freak me out. I mean, sometimes I've heard a lot of stories about old antique mirrors being haunted and stuff.
Yeah, we walked and we anointed every mirror, every window, every door casing, any opening, anything that could possibly be like a potential portal. We sealed it. We sealed it.
Yeah, if I mean, I don't mind the cover. It gets annoying every once in a while, but other than that, stuff being moved to another spot or something like that, it doesn't bother me that much. But if it was something any more than that, then I'd probably freak out a bit. Because I've been in some really old spooky houses before that as soon as you walk in, it felt like the temperature drops. And you feel something, and all of a sudden your hair goes woof.
Uh-huh.
The old farmhouse that I grew up in,
Mm-hmm.
there would be times that you'd hear the toilet flush, no one was in there. And just like you were saying, cupboard doors being open or steak knives flying from here to there, just little things. But my older brother, he's 7.5 years older than me, right? So he was upstairs, and it was the bedroom right above the living room. So there was times that he when he was there asleep, he'd wake up to something crawling up beside him and laying next to him in bed. And and I'd even noticed it whenever he moved out and I was in that same room, and I noticed it once or twice, and I'm like, well, hello. That was it. That's the only thing that happened, though. And I'm like, it still makes you just a little bit creeped out.
Yeah, I would probably do the same thing. Definitely.
Yikes! That's scary right there, Ginger.
Yeah. Yeah, I definitely think there's something different from just like little messing around with things in the house or something than when it hurts somebody or it makes somebody change. Because I've seen people are real nice people, then all of a sudden they change, and it's like, wow, what happened to you? And then you're like, what? And they don't know what happened.
Mm-hmm.
Okay,
that's
like
scary there.
I'm sorry. Okay, so like I told you about the 2-story house I'd rented, right? The things so the next couple that rented that shortly after I did, I'd known him all my life. He was a few years older than me. He was dating a classmate of mine. And I told him, I was like, hey, just in case the landlord never mentioned anything, this is what kind of happened, that I noticed when I was here. And I told him a few things. He wasn't even there another month and a half. He quit. He moved out of there, and I was like, just in case you notice some things, it's weird. Don't be scared. I mean,
Yeah, look at the house that I went out and looked. And one of the reasons why that didn't go through, because I didn't show all of what was going on there, because there was in the kitchen. They said it was spaghetti sauce, but later I found out that the guy was in a wheelchair and he made himself not here no more.
Wow.
And I went through the house and showed everybody the house, and then we went, or the trailer, and then we went into the house, and there's one part where the door slammed shut, and I could have swore I jumped, but evidently the camera didn't show me jumping because we were walking into the other room, and all of a sudden, slam. There's no wind or anything, and that's the house that was supposed to have been haunted, and which I didn't mind it or anything. But then we found out that they were still investigating what happened to the guy. So it's hard to say if that's going to be on the market or not.
okay. So I got a question for y'all. Bushcraft, Lake, and Bigfoot. I've walked into a few other places here and there, same instances as that 2-story house I mentioned. You know what I'm saying? Where you get that weird energy vibe. Now, here's the thing I want to ask you. Whenever you've noticed anything like that or anything else like that, does it, even without you thinking that you're protected by, do you have this? I have a calm, serene feeling most of the time. There's only been once or twice that I was really scared out of the heebie-jeebies, But other than that, without even saying anything to the big man upstairs, I had this natural, calm, serene feeling most of the time. Now, is that okay? So the question was, do you feel like you're protected or not? You know what I'm saying? Because to me, I felt like, and I didn't think about it till afterwards, but at the moment, but at the time that I was there, I just felt like a calm that I was okay no matter what. That's I don't know. It's hard to explain.
I get what you're saying. I don't like to even. I try to. If I get that feeling, I don't really want to be there. And I'll give you an example why.
There was 2 places. Yeah, there's like that.
You think you hear these stories and you read the Bible about demonic possession, right? And you hear these stories of these demons being cast out. There was an occasion recorded in the Bible when the apostles themselves went up and tried to cast one out, and they couldn't do it. And Jesus went up and cast it out. And they're like, why couldn't we do it? Why couldn't we cast him out? And he said, well, this kind you can only cast out by fasting and prayer. It's like you don't. You're dealing with things in the spirit realm.
Yeah,
I can't take these fists and fight that.
Yeah.
So it's full armor of God, but it's also God's telling me to kind of probably get out of there.
Intuition.
Yeah, you got it. It's discernment of spirits, and
right.
if it's something that's reaching back, I'm getting out.
Yeah. That's what I said.
Like I said, there's only been 1 or 2 places where I stepped into, and I was only there maybe 5 minutes, and I was like, I don't like this feeling, and something was telling me that I better leave. You know what I'm saying? My hair stood up on the back of my neck and everything, and I was like, okay, I'm out of here. And but the other times, it was like I was protected. So
Howdy.
Hey, 101.
hey, 101.
Hi, 101. Got a ghost story?
The end.
Hey, did you guys hear about that demon that was arrested? They got him on possession.
Oh,
I know it was going to be one of those bad jokes.
I was expecting a politician.
Is it a politician? Oh, I was going to say.
It was Pardoshi.
I think this one was for you, Bigfoot.
Did you hear about the guy who had an exorcism performed on himself, and he couldn't afford to pay the bill? He got repossessed.
I should laugh at yours.
I hadn't heard that. Sassy Cat has a question for you, Bigfoot.
I don't read anywhere in the Bible about sage. I don't do
That's
that.
actually a Wiccan
I
thing.
do just pray over some oil, and it doesn't even have to be any kind of fancy oil. Use olive oil, or
It needs to be pure virgin olive oil, but it can be any oil.
just pray over oil, and ask for the anointing of Jesus Christ upon it. That's what anointing with oil is biblical.
Okay, so after the custody thing, my daughter was like just a few months old, right? I started this custody thing, and the people at the church, they took this napkin or a cloth or whatever, and they had anointed oil on it, and so I have it in a baggie. But I had that folded up in my wallet for the longest time. I mean, a decade plus, until it dried out, and that thing works. Let me tell you, it works. Yeah.
Other than like Faith, how the hell did you know it worked?
Because some of the let's just say a few accidents,
Oh, I see.
automobile and whatnot, and this and that, and yeah, well, yeah.
Equine Prepper says a few ghost stories, and if you guys could, Monty, maybe you can pass this on to Diamond and the other channel as well. Equine Preppers, the family could use prayers. I'll just leave it at that.
Okay.
Well, if we're discussing ghost stories, I don't know if this is really a story, but it's rather something y'all have witnessed on my streams before. Remember in the early days of my streams, I would see, well, where I had the Second Amendment plaque hanging now, I would get the orbs going in and out of the wall.
I remember that, yeah.
Yeah. I caught them live on stream.
Do you remember when I recorded them and sent them to you and slowed them down and told you where one came out and they split?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I haven't had that since, though, which is weird.
Who was up there with you?
Nobody. It was just me.
Oh, okay. Just you?
Yeah. I'd like to think it was my dad or something like that, but who knows? Not a personal story, but some things that would happen to my grandparents was after my grandma died, my grandpa would be doing his laundry, right, and buttoning up his shirts on his hangers and that, and he'd hang them up, and he'd go in the kitchen, do something. The kitchen was right, or the laundry room was right off the kitchen. It was upstairs laundry, in one of those pocket door rooms, and he'd come back after doing something, and he always would button the shirt all the way up to the very last button. He'd come back, and that last button would be undone. And then he'd fix it, and then go away for a while, come back, and it'd be undone. And we kept saying that it was my grandma because that's the way she would do it.
Oh,
So, and he hated her for that. Well, not hated, but you know what I mean.
I really hear so many voices.
That's about all I got for ghost stories.
Talking to Monty.
Yeah, I think that the most I think when because there was a question about spirits versus demons. I do believe there's demons out there because there's a lot of like the Amityville thing.
What's that?
That was, and they've had people live in there and never had issues with it before,
What
and
was
they've
that?
always said it was something got into the guy.
You lost me.
Amityville
No,
horror.
I don't know what that.
Oh, it's where it's that one creepy house that kind of looks like it has a face.
Mhm.
Amityville.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's an actual true story about the house.
I'll have to look into this.
Yeah, I think that was.
There's two different stories. One is the family moved in and it started happening to them, and there's one that before the main family moved in, uh, the son killed his family, then turned the gun on him.
Now, I will say I believe more in demons than I do like ghosts
I'm with you.
because and I'm gonna kind of touch on this with my stream tonight with the whole my title is are you dealing with mental overload? Demons don't necessarily have to possess people in the way that you think they do,
Mm-hmm.
but rather it can come in the waves of the mental distress, the uh, just the bad luck, the whatever you want to call it, in many different ways. And I see that more frequently than I do like these orbs and things out of the corner of my eye, unless it's really bad. But
Yeah,
Yeah, I agree.
or objects.
uh,
They can come into your house as just an object, an old clock or a mirror or something, and then you start
Yeah.
seeing this stuff happening in your house.
They attach. Yeah, and that's what I'm saying. It if you're, I now you guys know I'm Christian and I'm not going to hide that. I'm going to warn people. If you're tempted to use a Ouija board, don't do it.
I hate
I'm
those
telling
things.
you, you reach into the darkness. There's things in there that will reach back.
Oh yeah,
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's funny you say Bigfoot because somebody at work asked me, why don't you drink? Why don't you smoke? Well, you hit it on the head right there. Those things, yeah, people think they're fine, but they're really not. No
Mm-mm.
offense if you smoke or drink, but there are things that can attach themselves to you because of those addictions.
mm-hmm.
Maybe not the act of doing it itself, but it puts you in a state of mind that does not keep you where you need to be.
Mhm. It can even be a spirit of addiction that's upon you.
Mhm.
That
There's that too.
Yeah. Don't mean to get on a high horse, but I'm just there's a difference. I think Bushcraft's trying to be, um, tell ghost stories and keep it light. But you can go the other way and
Oh
you
yeah.
can take
Well-
this to a demonic level where it's not good.
Well, that's kind of what I'm going to go into with my stream. So we'll leave that for my stream. Sorry if I hijacked it there a minute, but
no. Yeah, Ouija boards I always thought was just a silly little game that Warner Brothers put out.
Yeah.
Uh,
Eight
wasn't
years
the
old
age
and up.
wasn't the age rating like 7?
Eight.
It's 8 years old and up.
Yeah, we were doing a Ouija board when I was in Job Corps. Somebody had brought it, or I don't know where it came from, but there was 4 of us sitting there, and we had it all of our knees, and I'm like, guys, stop making it do what it asked and whatnot, because I've like, you guys are moving it and this and that, and we started doing it again, and I swore somebody was making it move, and I'm not going to do this anymore. This is ridiculous. And then okay, we'll stop. And they, you know how you have to do like a figure 8 or something to clear it or whatever. Next thing I know, our knees started getting hot. Well, somebody said it first, and I said, knock it off. And pretty soon I started feeling my knees getting hot. I'm like, and I look under there and make sure nobody's messing with a lighter or something. And as soon as I looked under there, this whole fire came out from underneath this thing.
Oh Lord!
Whoosh. That thing went right through the window. I ended up I went and got in trouble because I broke the window. So I had KP duty for like 3 weeks.
Well, I hear that you're not supposed to take your hands off of that thing without saying "quote unquote" goodbye to whatever the
Yeah,
fuck
you're supposed to say goodbye at the end of it. But yeah, I went whoosh. Of course, it was on fire too, but still, I was nope.
Have you ever seen someone try to burn a Ouija board? Those things don't burn.
They said that it wasn't burnt when they went out because it was out in the snow. And I said, no, you're not bringing that back in my room.
Stay far away from those things.
But yeah, there's all those movies about the Ouija board that there's different things that you're not supposed to do and things that you're supposed to do, and if you're talking to somebody that you think, oh, this is my mother or something, it could be an evil demon or a spirit copying that person to get into you.
Mm-hmm.
No.
Yeah. So a friend of mine, she kind of dabbled in that a long time ago, long time ago, like right around out of high school. And so I was sitting there with her and a couple other people. We was 4 of us, and the basic stuff, this and that. And I was like, all right, quit moving it, guys. And our hands are on there, and he's like, we're not moving. I'm like, whatever. And then I asked if it was like guardian angel moving it, if it was mine, and it said yes, and then it started spelling out Jason, and that's about as far as it went, because I was like, all right, someone's moving this. One of you, all 3 of you other people are moving it. That's about as far as it went with me. I was like, okay, I'm done, and I said bye, but that's all I said. And that's the last time, one and only time I ever messed with it. So my friend, she had messed with it a few years, even after that. She had one board where she felt like it was heavily possessed, I guess you'd say, or anything. But anyway, she took it and buried it way in her closet underneath a bunch of stuff. Her and her girlfriend left, come back, went to the store, come back, and that thing was outside of the closet door.
Oh hell no! I mean, like,
They
ended up burning it.
Yeah, somebody had bought one for $1,100.
Oh.
Yeah, it was old wood and stuff, and the little thing was all carved out of wood, and it had some very bad symbols on it. And I was like, why would you even think about that? I wouldn't even come close to that.
No.
And yeah, no. I mean, it had the symbols, you know, the devil ones and all that, and I'm like,
you
yeah.
know, call me naive or whatever you want to call me, but I don't understand how people can do these things.
Well, I
What's
love,
what's the attraction to it?
it's usually, and this is what's dangerous about it. It's usually when somebody experiences a huge loss, like they lose their son, and they're searching. They're searching. They want to talk, and that's demonic, and that's the lure, and that's how that portal gets open.
Mhm. They use those situations.
And you giving them, you transferring your power to whatever that evil thing is.
Transfer my power. I can barely get through the fucking day as it is. I can't afford to lose anymore.
I'll have to get prayed over.
Yeah, about 11 o'clock, 101's about ready to pass out. He's usually sitting back in his chair.
You can tell when I get there. It's alright.
It was several streams ago. Maybe it was even last week. I don't know. I seen him like this over in his chair, and Bear called him out on it. Yeah, Bear called him out on it, and I was like, well, he does look like he's.
I practically fell asleep that night.
That's what I thought. It was like within the first 2 weeks that I started my channel. So me and Hawk's up on there in remote. God bless remote. I still have it on. It's still it's still towards the end of the video. So remote's sitting there in his chair. I mean, perfectly still for the longest time. He's not said a word for over 10 minutes. And I'm like, Hawk goes, oh, he just froze up. He goes, at first I thought he was asleep. I was like, I think he fell asleep because I ain't heard a sound out of him. He's froze up. And all of a sudden you hear the squeak of the chair just a tad bit. I was like, he still has not moved. And so I'm like, remote, nothing. And so I called him by his name. He still didn't hardly budge. So I called him Scooter. And that's when he jostled. He goes, I'm awake. I'm like, no. He goes, I was praying. I was like, no, you wasn't. Oh, I still laugh. We all laugh about that.
Yes, CJ's got a good comment there, and that's how it happens often.
Mm-hmm.
Looking for answers in all the wrong places.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've done looking for answers, and
I'm
every
glad
time
I wise.
look, I can't. I don't find what I'm looking for.
Right. That's what I was getting ready to say. Well, I'm just glad I wisened up. You know, from way back then, and now no.
Yeah, when you're younger, you don't think about that stuff, and
right? Because I didn't.
It's
I
different.
Didn't know how. Yeah, I didn't know how easy it was for one of the whatever it is to get attached. You know, to come out and get attached to you or whatnot. And I started hearing stories about that, and I'm like, well, it's a good thing.
So on a lighter note, I want you guys' thoughts on this joke I got.
Oh, no.
I want to know whether I can take this out to the masses or not and get a good response.
I feel like it's a bad joke.
Just amongst us. Okay, there's a skeleton. See, it fits in with the night. There's a skeleton. He walks into McDonald's and he orders a large Coke and a mop.
I think we got boned on this joke.
That's it. That's the joke.
With the sweet tea and a mop. Yes, at night.
I knew as soon as he said a skeleton, I knew where it was going.
They told us
What do you think? Is there any hope?
You might want to keep that one to yourself.
That was one of my better ones too.
Might want to work on the humorous side of that. Get it
Oh.
the humorous get it the humorous bone.
I ate phalange in that one.
Oh boy. There's 3 people in their chat that laughed.
Laughing on
Out
it.
of 86.
Out of 86.
Rough crowd, no respect, no respect.
Yeah, tarot cards are. I don't like tarot cards.
No.
My grandma used to
Those are bad.
do those.
I used to
And
be into the whole astrological signs and the tarot cards and all that shit. Never brought me any answers.
Let JJ know that the Astro
Sorry I interrupted Bushcraft. That was just me rambling.
is true.
yeah, those things are. I don't know.
So JJ's got a question.
It's true.
Is it true about Astro Project?
It's true, and
So
actually,
what?
governments use it to spy on other governments. They find that these people with these so-called gifts, which are they can do this. It's astral projection.
It's remote viewing.
Remote viewing.
Oh,
And they actually find these people, and yeah, they use them against each other in government.
And we're worried about them getting their locations off our phones.
yeah.
Right.
They've actually used it to spy on Russia and the U.S.
Is that kind of like the movie The Men Who Spy? Something about goats. The Men Who. I forgot the exact title of it, but that's an actual government project. Is it The Men Who Spy with Goats or on Goats or something like that? It had George Clooney in it.
This sounds like a Southeast Ohio thing. I don't know.
Yeah, I've heard of the government using remote viewing.
The men who sit and stare at goats.
Yeah, maybe that's it.
Ginger Ninja got it.
Yeah. That's an actual project that our government spent taxpayers' money to do that.
So
And I'm like,
so they pay people to stare at goats?
it was to do like
I know
the one,
the astral projection.
yeah, like the ones that can bend spoons and this and that or whatever. But they was I forgot how exactly they. It was a little bit
bullshit.
Yeah, it was something like that.
I mean, I like to watch goats, but I don't know staring at them all day. But they're
They'll
entertaining.
stare right back at you too.
Oh, you got to get those feigning goats.
Yeah.
Those are funny. I think it was a miniature fiending one or something like that. They had it in the kitchen, and it just for some reason it just went bloop. And then I was watching
They
a
get all
short video.
stiff.
I was watching a short video. Okay, so they opened up the door. They had them in like a little goat house or whatever. They was all coming out there, and a few of them they would take 2 or 3 steps, bloop, 2 or 3 steps, bloop, and I'm like, are all of them like this? Oh my goodness!
It's them Democrat goats. You've had a really good chat tonight. A lot of good comments, and yeah, it's been fun.
What was the scariest movie we saw? The Gate and Poltergeist. Yeah, the Gate was a creepy one.
The original Exorcist was like way up there.
Oh yeah,
That was evil on a whole nother level.
Yeah.
I've never seen The Gate, but The Exorcist, yeah.
Mm-mm-mm.
Yeah.
Not necessarily a movie, but one thing that would always creep me out is you remember the Goosebumps episodes in the intro? There was the
No.
dog with the glowing eyes.
Oh, okay.
That
Yeah.
shit, that shit scared the crap out of me. It still does.
Um, oh, the guy with the Hellraiser, I think. it was.
Hellraiser. Yeah.
Those ones were really over the edge.
Yeah.
And that one with the nun. That nun's spooky, just by itself.
You talking
I-
about the recent?
Huh?
It's fairly recent.
Yeah. Well, in the one where they show it before the nun
It was
came
one of
out.
the Conjuring movies. Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, there's this movie that came out recently. I forget the name of it. It came out in 2020. It was called the 2020 Inauguration. Still gives me nightmares,
Talk about something that needs an exorcist.
right?
Yeah. It was a British movie. I can't remember the name of it now, but oh, dang it. Knocky Bucker or something. It was weird name of this demon guy. It was spooky. I only watched bits and pieces of it because I didn't want to watch it anymore. It was just too far overboard.
I always thought Leprechaun was weird. Those movies.
Yeah. I'm not dissing the poor little guy or anything, but they can never get away from him, and he can't run that fast. You know, his little wobble, he can't get going that fast, and I don't know. I take that gold and run. He'd never catch me.
Chucky got around real fast. I mean,
Yeah. When you're getting attacked by that doll, and they're like getting thrown on the ground, and they're like struggling with this little plastic doll. I'm like, just throw it.
Like, I don't get the part where like he's got Chucky's head nailed to a board and that, and he's got the torch on it and all that. Like, why are we still keeping the damn thing alive? Why are we not putting this in an incinerator? Why?
Yeah. Well, he got melted down, and they made more out of him. There was this. Well, for people who haven't watched, there's a series, the Chucky series. I'll just put it. There's many of them made.
Okay. So there's multiple Chuckies.
Yeah.
it's kind of
This
like
I didn't know actually.
Yeah. It's
they ran that series like beating a dead horse.
yeah.
Literally,
I thought it was going to be
just the
good,
praise,
and
yeah.
it was woke Chucky. I'll put it that way.
Oh dear.
It's just
Yeah.
like the Jason movies.
How the hell do you even manage
Well,
that?
anything new here lately has been that, unfortunately.
You know, I was thinking about that.
Tales from the Crypt. I thought that was pretty good. The
was-
series they had.
I was thinking about that at dinner, where like everything nowadays is just going woke, and it's like, what kind of world are we living in?
Yeah, I was talking about this today with Liking Crazy about how the shows are kind of going that direction now, and that I used to like watching.
Right?
They're
Well, you remember when The Sickness came and all these doctor and hospital shows? Everybody had this series where they were having the sick people come in, get on the respirators and they would pass and all this. And it was just like, we're getting enough of that. Why do we want to watch it more?
Yeah.
That's what I didn't understand. Is like you get so much of it. It's like the whole thing of repeat a message enough, the people will believe it. Well, eventually they won't.
Yeah, that's what I was wondering is, did they get influenced saying, hey, we want you to do a piece on
Well,
what the
yeah,
world's going through?
they want it everywhere.
Yeah. They say, get your writers to write this season series about that. And about, probably a good 5 or 6 shows that I watched, it was the same thing.
They wanted it to where we couldn't escape the idea that it was everywhere.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And they also talked about getting, the juice.
Yeah.
Oh, you'll be safe now.
I was asked that today when I went to my doctor's appointment. And he's like, "So you don't want that?" I was like, "No. Why would I want it?"
I don't get why people are still like wearing masks. Is like, people, we're done with this. Calm down. Like, dude, I haven't gotten it, and I've been going about my life for the last 3.5 years. 2.5 years, whatever.
Well, there are some that I think would actually need it,
But it
but I
wasn't
don't think everybody needs it.
right.
The mask itself, because there are some people that they can't go outside, and if there's somebody that's got a little cold, they can catch it.
But we've always had autoimmune diseases,
Yeah,
so
it
yeah,
seems like there's more of it now.
never stopped us before.
Mm.
Anyway,
Well, Bushcraft, did you expect this to be a 2-hour stream?
No, I didn't think we'd have that many ghost stories, but well, I've got a lot more, but
I
Oh,
got
it
some
started.
bars.
It started off real good.
speaking
I
of
got-
which, my TV just turned on.
I got some horror stories, but they all usually involve politics. So
Oh no, he sent me the link. So I clicked on the YouTube first, and then I joined him, and it shows that he's live, and we're back there talking and everything. He goes, "I just went and checked YouTube, and it's not showing that I'm live." And I'm like, "Huh?"
Yeah,
I was
I
like, "It's
went on
showing
there
that
and I'm
you are."
like, what's going on? I refreshed it, and then because I asked everybody, do you see me? And they said, no, we don't see you. I'm like, well,
Yeah, you guys did that, and you must have just canceled it when I clicked the link to go backstage because I popped full screen and I'm like, I thought I was live by myself. What?
Yeah, I typed down in there. I was like, "Hang on, Bushcraft's making another live," and then I was like, then I seen after you'd made one, you was already live on that, and I was like, I told everyone in the other one, I was like, check your notifications.
yeah, I went to see if it was popping. Just went and started another one. I copied the title and then started it and waited, and then I went and seen if it was live, and I saw myself, so I thought, well, this must be working. Because usually, sometimes it'll go like 30 seconds. Once you hit that live
Right.
button, it'll go 30 seconds before you see it on YouTube. I thought that's what it was.
what I usually do is I pull up my studio in one tab, and then the actual stream that everyone else would see in another, and I'll hit the live button on the StreamYard, wait for it to come up back in the backstage studio, and then once that's live, I go to the next tab, and then you'll start to see what you regularly see.
Yeah,
That's about 10-15 seconds behind.
I have multiple monitors where I can see it all going at the same time. That's why I was we were back. We were well. It said it was live, but we were back there for like 4 minutes. Me and Monty was talking about it and everything, and then it's like, wait a minute, it's not working.
Did you accidentally hit like a record instead of?
No, it was
Huh.
yeah, because it said live up at the top and everything. And at first it said we had 24 people in, and then it went to zero.
That's YouTube for you.
Well,
I was doing one of those Jeopardy game shows up, at one time. I was either right in the middle of it or something, and all of a sudden, I was showing 120 some people up there in the corner, and I was live halfway in the middle of it, and then all of a sudden I started seeing people dropping down. I went over to the YouTube side. I'm like, what's going on? And then I went back again to the YouTube side, and it's sitting there just circling, and I'm like, oh.
Welcome to my world.
And then I start seeing comments. in the chat saying, well, okay, bye. And I'm like, hang on, don't go. It's not me, it's YouTube.
Again, welcome to my world.
how long did it take? Oh, I've had this as the same amount of time I had my channel. It'll almost be 2 years. But I had cut like a good bit of it off probably 6 months ago.
What's that?
My beard. Somebody asked how long it took to grow it. I would probably say about 1.5 years.
Damn.
It grows fast.
I could not go that long.
And I'm about ready to do it because it's weird. I get people ask me about my beard all the time when I'm going to the store or something. The other day, some lady walked by and she said, "Ooh, the beard." I'm like, and my son says, "Why is everybody always asking about your beard?"
Well, not many people do the full beard thing. You got like full Spartan beard going on.
And then somebody
I'd have to break out this
with a really fuzzy beard says, he goes, we're coming out of Walmart. He was going in. He said, "Hey, brother," and he goes like that with his beard. I'm like, okay.
So maybe that lady that you ran into in the grocery store?
Dollar General.
Dollar General. Maybe she was looking for somebody that would be the perfect complement to her back hair.
Oh no!
No, she had some very bad done tattoos.
Oh.
The ones that look like somebody practiced on her before they knew how to use the gun, tattoo gun.
I think if I tried to grow out my beard like that, it definitely wouldn't look like yours. It would be more bush.
Yeah, it's
I can't take it. Every once in a while, I gotta just go scorched earth on it and get rid of it.
like you did tonight.
Yeah, like tonight.
Y'all want to talk about like some crazy ass beards?
Yeah.
I got that in backstage, Bushcraft.
Oh boy.
Yeah, I've seen the beard competitions. They get kind of crazy.
Oh,
is
you
that a
even got
comb
the
over?
hair to match.
Oh,
It looks like a spider.
I've seen that chap before.
It's not ginger belly.
Look like him, huh?
Ooh, ooh. Oh wow.
Could poke an eye out.
You fit in there, Bushcraft.
No.
This dude's the walking Nike symbol.
Just do it.
Bushcraft, you could be like an inverted narwhal or a unicorn. Have that come down to us.
Did he lose his beard?
I think
Oh,
so.
as a bag.
Oh.
I thought he lost his beard.
Can you say like CB antenna like with this
Mine-
dude?
Reminds me of a catfish.
How
No,
much
that's
you want to bet? How much you want to bet this guy grew out the one patch of hair he had on top of his head, and then just did this shit? And he actually doesn't have a beard.
That's a big
No.
call.
I think he's bald. He's bald up top, and that's some of his beard hair that he flopped it up on top.
Oh yeah, he's combed over his
yeah.
beard hair.
Yeah.
That's,
Oh.
that's weird.
Oh, that dude up there. Oh,
What?
do you hear about that guy?
This guy?
Yeah,
No, I did not.
he's been. This is New York. This is New York for you. Arrested and released like multiple times, 12, 14 times. And they have pictures of it or video of him going behind people and just punching them with all his might. And this last guy, it broke his jaw and his skull. And he's got brain damage.
Damn.
And the district attorney let the charges go down from attempted murder to assault and let him go on bail.
Wow.
So
What the fuck?
he's right back out.
So
Wow.
where's
And
it
he's
going to
done
end
this
with?
multiple times.
Stupid people.
And they wonder why New York City's assault rate has went up 50%.
Huh. I wonder why.
That,
Yeah, I'd be afraid to walk past those guys with beards. But you have to wear safety goggles.
You'd have to ask the star foam to the points.
He looked like
when they turn.
characters from the Matrix or something like that.
Yeah. Or was that the Grinch?
The
How
pe-
they-
yeah, the Grinch, yeah, or the people who lived in the Capitol within the Hunger Games.
Ooh, yeah. Definitely the Hunger Games.
Yeah, that too. Yeah, that was. Oh, Jeff will be happy. 101 is going to start on time tonight.
Sorry. Like, I figured I'd pop up here a minute before like shit gets real on my stream.
Yeah, I guess we better go ahead and end it here. Like I said, if you got a bunch of ghost stories and you want to tell them, just email me on there and I'll set up another one, maybe every other week or something like that for
I'll see you guys
Friday
on-
nights.
I'll see you guys in a couple of minutes. Boogity boogity boo.
Boobity boo.
Or fall.
Later 101. Okay.
I haven't heard from
Hey,
you. I wash my hair in the sink.
hang on, Bigfoot. Don't go nowhere. Please.
What are you doing?
I think they were wanting to know what your story was.
Oh, I said my horror story was I'm going to go wash my hair in the sink with my feet.
What? You're gonna wash your hair in the sink with your feet?
Yep.
Yeah,
You instead of using your hands, you're gonna use your feet?
Yeah, because
It's-
my feet need washing too.
it's not uncommon around here. It's multitasking.
Okay.
So Ragnar says he's got a lot of ghost stories.
Yeah, just go ahead and email me, and I'll go ahead and if I get a bunch of people, maybe I'll have to do it every week.
Sassy Cat wants to know.
No, she scared me. That when she went by, I went, They did a weird look, and I was like, "Oh!"
Ooh.
You're good, Bigfoot.
I backed out of the way. That scared me.
Gotcha, Monty.
All right.
Well, guys, 101 will be live in probably a few minutes. We'll go head on over there. Thanks everybody for dropping by, and thank you guys on panel for your spooky stories.
Hey, thanks for having me up on panel, brother.
Yeah, and hopefully next time we won't have any technical difficulties. See you guys over at 101s.
All right.
See you, everyone.